Hey Siri, what's AI? Hello everyone and welcome back to my podcast. As always, I'm your host, Siri Kanaganti, and welcome back to the show. So first of all, before I actually begin the contents of our episode, yeah, that's right, I actually gained some vocabulary for this episode. Hope you guys are proud of me. But I know that a lot of you guys probably want to punch me right now because a lot of people have actually reached out to me and been like, what happened to your podcast? Or like, was it just an eighth grade thing or like middle school thing and now you're just going to stop your podcast? But first of all, I just want to clear up the doubt and say no, I am continuing my podcast. And I remember writing down like when I was applying for something, I don't exactly remember what it was, but when I was applying for some like organization or something, I was talking about my podcast and I was saying how I wanted to continue for at least all of high school. So just to reassure you, like I'm gonna continue releasing episodes, but at the same time, because I'm in high school now and it's not just middle school, obviously the workload like doubles. It like I'm gonna be honest, it doesn't just double, it grows exponentially. And for me, I have a very bad chronic disorder of biting off way too many things, like biting off more than I can chew. So I'm kind of struggling with that, but I am handling it somehow. So full disclaimer, and like obviously I don't want you guys like thinking bad things about me, like oh my god, how can she be someone committed? But at the same time, it kind of is how people are. But full disclaimer, I'm gonna try my best to release episodes, but as you guys have seen in the past, there's been like huge gaps between episodes, or like what do you call it, like there'll be a bunch of episodes released within a 1 week, like with a 1 week difference. So please excuse the voice crack, guys, but like there will be an episode released every week for like 2 or 3 months, and then all of a sudden I disappear for like a month. And honestly, all I want to say is that people change, things change, and as I said, my podcast is one of my biggest priorities. But at the same time, I am like trying to prep myself for college and stuff like that, and building my like college, not building my college app, like building my resume, getting more experience, pursuing the career that I'm interested in, stuff like that. So just want to put it out there that I will never officially stop this podcast, but there's going to be breaks between episodes. And I've always wanted to say that, but I'm kind of a people pleaser in the sense that I'm kind of shy to actually say like, hey, I can't consistently release episodes like once every week. Sometimes there'll be breaks, but as you can see, high school Siri has definitely evolved compared to middle school Siri. So here we are. And now to actually get into the contents of our episode. Also, don't have my face crossed out with like a red X or something because you're mad that I haven't released. I feel like we all kind of need breaks from like shows and stuff. I'm gonna be honest, like I will sometimes like binge watch shows for like 6 months, and then as soon as I start getting actually busy, I have zero music entertainment whatsoever. But my podcast is my own entertainment in that scenario. But anyways, I hate sidetracking. It bothers me so much. But what exactly is AI? So, to put it in full form, AI is the abbreviation of artificial intelligence. Now, I'm going to be honest here, as I've said for like the fifth time this episode, I suck at explaining things. Like, I'm totally, absolutely terrible at it. And I know you're thinking, why do you have a podcast then? But I wouldn't say I'm good at giving examples, but I'm definitely better at giving like examples and helping people understand a concept that way. So that's why I have a podcast. But anyways, the best example I can give of AI is, this is actually the main focus of this episode as well. I want to talk about ChatGPT, and I'm kind of sad about this because the problem is that all of my viewers, okay, no, my viewers are like, obviously they're mixed demographics, like not everyone's the same age range, but the problem is that literally like almost 50% the age range is like under 18 or like more in your youth area, and then the other half is just like old people. Now I'm not trying to be like offensive to the elderlies watching this, but to me you are considered old. So the problem with this episode is that half of my viewers are going to want to skip it because like people my age already understand what ChatGPT is, what AI is, just because it's so prominent in today's world. And then the other half of people are going to be like watching this detailedly and trying to be like, how can I get with the kids or something? So full disclaimer, this episode is going to be either very cringy or quite interesting, but stick around and find out, I guess. And one more thing that I wanted to emphasize is that I did like mock episodes like crazy for this. And by mock episodes, I mean that this is like I think my third or fourth time filming this episode, because the first two times it wasn't that I was unprepared, it's that I was like very tired, and I had like postponed all my research to the day of the episode. Like I usually don't procrastinate, but I was like, okay, I want it fresh in my mind while filming. So that was that. And then the third time I actually got my facts right, but then I forgot one abbreviation, and it was kind of what carried the entire like the entire episode. So I basically had an episode without a foundation. That was one circumstance that happened. And then this is, I would say, I think it's the fourth try actually. And like I said, I just took a huge break from filming. I think my last episode I filmed in, I would say, May, because that's when I released it. So I got a huge gap. But at the same time, I kind of did, like, I didn't mind the fact that I had this giant gap, because it kind of shows the difference, like the evolution between middle school me and high school me. And I know it's just like a couple months, but at the same time, I have changed in a couple months. Like, I've changed quite a lot. I don't know if I'm not as entertaining as before, if I keep getting sidetracked, but I just wanted to put it out there that this episode is kind of crazy, but it's really meaningful to me because it's me actually coming back to my podcast. And I definitely was very nervous before filming, because if you notice, like, I have a specific intro, I have a specific outro, I have a very specific talking style, and I repeat the few phrases. Like, I repeat these following phrases a lot, like, don't get me wrong. I'm like, stop getting sidetracked. I say those words a lot. And I just wanted the episode to be perfect. And like, please, please, parents, just know nothing is perfect. Your kids are not perfect. Nothing is perfect. But I just wanted the episode to be of highest quality. Because if I'm going to keep you waiting for so long, then I'm not going to give you something that's bad quality. That's on me. And now that I've rambled for, I think, like 10 minutes in total, let's actually talk about AI. And the reason why I actually did this episode in the first place wasn't because, like, oh, AI is so prominent, or like it's so happening or something. It's because personally, I'm not even someone who's very into like technology or stuff like that. Like, I don't mean like computer science or coding, stuff like that. Like, I am terrible at knowing tech. Like, today I was calling the studio I film at about like if they had the equipment I needed, and they were like, what quality do you film in? And I'm like, I have no idea what that is. So full disclaimer, I am absolutely terrible at technology, but I still really want to talk about ChatGPT, because I don't know if you guys have like observed this or now. I don't know how close attention you guys pay to my podcast, but I've kind of expressed my interest in like psychology and stuff like that. But at the same time, I do find like not how we interpret technology, that's weird, not how we interpret technology, something like that, but like kind of how we perceive technology. Actually, okay, I figured out the best phrasing, guys. How we work with technology. I find that really cool to see how tech adapts to us, and then vice versa, how we adapt to tech. So that's kind of the basis for this episode. And if you think that this was not very representative of tech and ChatGPT or AI in general, please feel free to sue me. I don't actually, but at the same time, I do think law is cool. So if I could be my own one-man legal team, that would be awesome. But anyways, so ChatGPT is basically the software where you can, I'm pretty sure it's a software. Like, I know people are like, I don't know if that's a politically correct term, so I'm just trying here. But from what I know, ChatGPT is just a software that when you type in a specific prompt, and by prompt, it doesn't have to be like a whole essay prompt. It can be like one sentence prompt, stuff like that. Although I don't know if you type in like an entire paragraph of a prompt, I don't know if it can like respond to that. But the main thing about ChatGPT is that you type in a prompt and then it responds with a bunch of text. And by text, I don't mean like just a paragraph. I mean like it can type essays. It has written like 1-pagers, 10-pagers, probably even 20-pagers. I actually haven't experimented with it myself. And first of all, I am not a techie person, as I mentioned earlier. But since I am willing to honestly do anything for the sake of my podcast, I decided that I wanted to do an episode of before I like actually played around and messed around with ChatGPT, and then after. And I'm going to be honest, my original plan was to do the before episode while I was still in middle school, and then the after now that I'm in high school, so that it could show you not only how my perception has changed, but also how I have changed as a person. But obviously that timeline got really messed up. So, anyways, just to emphasize, because I don't know if you guys remember from all of the talking I've done, ChatGPT, you type in a prompt and it gives you a bunch of text. Now, I'm not actually sure, because like I said, I've never played around with it, but I'm not sure if you can select like one paragraph answer, like short essay, long essay, or like article, stuff like that. Honestly, what if it generated a newspaper? That would be really cool if we could have like an AI generated newspaper every day. But this episode is honestly, first of all, my perspective on ChatGPT itself and like how prominent, not how prominent it is in today's world, because that's obvious, but like my perspective. And then also, it does include a few of my questions. And the reason why I'm including my questions instead of answering yours is because honestly, I'm not sure why, but I just felt like I wanted to emphasize the fact that, like, obviously I do research and I try to come up with answers and talk about it in my videos, and like my research is kind of the foundation for my podcast and my episodes. But I also wanted to emphasize the fact that at the same time, I don't always find out everything. And sometimes I'm on a time crunch. Like, I'll suddenly get a bunch of assignments or tests that I have to study for, and then I won't have the time to, like, actually do the research and find the answers I want before I film. So it kind of shows the fact that I'm, like, trying my best, but also, like, the flip side, like, this is what happens when you take too many advanced courses and you're kind of suffering in workload and it's all handwritten. So, yeah, but I don't want to make my podcast a ranting space. Well, at least not for this episode. But basically, some questions that I did have about ChatGPT were also okay. So, more of like an overview of ChatGPT is that the prompts you can type in are honestly kind of endless. I'm pretty sure. I doubt that it doesn't respond to specific prompts because, like, I've heard so many news stories of like kids getting fired from Ivy, or not fired, but like kids getting like kicked out of Ivy League hikes. Oh my God, guys, this is what happens when you don't film for like 6 months straight. But anyways, I've heard of so many cases and like read so many articles about Ivy League college students getting kicked out. Okay, maybe not Ivy League, but like kids at good universities like UCs, or like I said, Ivy Leagues getting kicked out for using ChatGPT on their essays. Now, one question I had about this was, how did they know? Because I don't know if ChatGPT, and this is another one of my questions, by the way, if you type in like prompt A today and then you type in the same prompt tomorrow, will it give you the same answer? Like, okay, so for example, like, how's our political system? Like, if you typed in that prompt, I don't even know if ChatGPT answers those type of questions. That was another thing that I wanted to know about, like, what ChatGPT can do, is that what if you type in like, what is your stance on our current political system or something like that, or like, do you think we should switch to communism instead of capitalism? Like, if you type in opinion questions, what can it do? Like, will it just say like not computable or something, or will it be like, because I've heard of stories where like AI, like, instead of saying not computable, it'll like put out like the benefits of this and like the pros and cons. It'll do a pros and cons list basically. So my question is, was it obvious because like no matter how many times and when you type in the same prompt, it'll give you the same answer? Is that how they knew they were cheating? So like they typed in the essay prompt and then the professor checked and it was the same as student submission? Or that was basically my question. And honestly, my question is, okay, I feel like I'm saying the phrase my question a lot, but what I wanted to know was, why are Ivy League students doing this? Like, I know it makes your life easier, but at the same time, it is an Ivy League school, so you should expect the professors to know when you're cheating and when you're not. Like, just use your brain cells, don't be lazy. But I feel like, and this is like transferring, like, now I'm kind of changing the episode from like ChatGPT breakdown to my stance on ChatGPT. I definitely think that it's a good thing. Like I said, I've never used it before, but I really want to try it. And obviously, I wouldn't use it on like my essays or homework. Well, I mean, I guess you could check like your homework. Like if you had an English essay, you could type it in ChatGPT once you're done with your essay and like see if you guys think similarly. But that means you think similarly to AI, so that makes you smart, but also robotic and sometimes with flaws. So don't try that. But at the same time, like I said, I definitely think that ChatGPT is useful because there's so many instances where I just wish, like, okay, here's the best example I can give you because, like I said, I suck at explaining and I'm much better at examples. But basically, the example that I wanted to say was that if you okay, so I finally came up with the example. I've just been so excited with filming that I completely forgot what I was going to say. But what I wanted to talk about was, like, for example, MLA citations. And if you don't know what those are, then oh my god, you were so lucky. Like, if you've never had to do those, they suck. But an MLA citation is basically like how you cite a source. So it'll be like author's last name and then first name and then like the source in quotes and like the date published, stuff like that. But basically, people invented like MLA citation sites where you just like type in a link and it'll automatically give you the citation. And that's what I see ChatGPT as. Like, it makes your life easier. Obviously, I don't know if like you can and you shouldn't use it for everything, but it definitely helps because citing everything by hand, like citing everything MLA format by hand, is a huge task. I think I once had to do like this presentation or some essay where I had to use like a bunch of sources. I think it was like 12 sources, maybe even 15. And I think it took me an hour in total to cite everything because, like, at the same time, sometimes you miss like the author's name or something, or you can't tell if the author's name is just like the site name. It's weird, but anyways, between double checking and like trying to find the information because on every site the format differs, it took me about an hour. But when I use like literally the next assignment, I found out that there was this like really good MLA citation site and I started using it and it made my life so much easier. So I would say the same logic applies to ChatGPT because if you want to type out instructions or something, because I'm going to be honest, like when you're writing a procedure or something like that, like not just for science, but in general, especially if you're like a teacher planning out an activity, like I don't have that experience. I am a volunteer teacher, but that's different. But it is so annoying to like take so much time out of your day just to write simple things just for the sake of like your substitute teacher or like whoever to not misunderstand you and for yourself to be clear. It takes like forever. Even if it's just like simple instructions, it is so annoying. Personally, I hate doing like, I call it easy work. Like, I'm not saying I'm super smart, but I like to do work that usually challenges me or like makes me think. Like the same way my podcast makes you guys think, I want work that challenges me. So for me, I hate doing that, and that's why I'm very happy about ChatGPT. And I'm pretty sure it's actually blocked on our school Chromebooks. And I'm not sure if like, cause like I say, I do have international viewers technically, but in the state I live in the city at my school, and like in other schools in my school district, we each have like not personal, but our own school Chromebooks that are issued by the school, and a lot of sites are blocked on them as they should be. So I have to check if ChatGPT is. It probably is, but I feel like people like on school Chromebooks, I'm not sure if I want like teachers to unblock them because at the same time it's kind of obvious when people are using ChatGPT. But I definitely do wish that I could access it on my school Chromebook because even though I do have a personal one, I always think about ChatGPT or my podcast when I'm at school and have nothing to do because like I can't do non-school work on my Chromebook because I'm not allowed to go on the sites or something. But I definitely do wish that it was unblocked. And then as for honestly, yeah, that's all I had to say in this episode. That ChatGPT is something that I definitely do want to work with more and explore because, you know, it's very complex. It's definitely a complexity, but that is just everything I have to say. And then one thing I also wanted to talk about, like my form of explanation, is that because I'm gonna be honest, I do have a few young viewers. Like a lot of like my viewers, they also ask their siblings to watch it, or I know their younger siblings. So just to confirm, like for all my little children out there, totally watch my podcast, keep watching it, you'll get smarter. But also, if you're confused between what is artificial intelligence and like non-artificial intelligence, the best way to think of it is that artificial intelligence is, well, it's artificial, it's not real, it's not living, it's not breathing, it's not podcasting like Siri. And then what I call like human intelligence natural intelligence because it's living, it's breathing, yeah. But basically, like, I don't mean to be a teacher, and I hope that my volunteer teaching is not showing in this episode. But, like, for all of my little children out there, I just wanted to put out that disclaimer. At the same time, like, there's a lot of people, like, to all my immigrant viewers who don't really understand artificial intelligence, this one's also for you. But at the same time, I feel like a lot of people, regardless of, like, age or, like, whether they were born here or not, whether they're fluent in English or not, kind of understand the overall concept. But anyways, this episode was definitely something to get through, and I'm more than glad to be back. So expect many more episodes from me. I don't want to be corny, but I just want to show the appreciation that I have for everyone, because I never received like, oh my god, why aren't you filming? But it was like, hey, are you okay? You stopped filming. So the fact that you guys like not assume the worst of the worst, but like actually just wanted to know that I was okay while filming, that is honestly really sweet. But anyways, thank you so much for watching this episode. I'm gonna be honest, I don't 100% recall my outro, but have an amazing day, night, noon, evening, dawn, dusk. This is not me flexing. I'm just a very extra person, as you can see from my podcast. But thank you so much for watching, and please be sure to check out my podcast for more episodes, because I promise you they are coming. But goodbye, and as always, this is Siri's podcast.